What's going on, guys? Sergeant Galaxy back again. Finally back from YCS Toronto. It was a great experience. Had a lot of fun. Went with TurkThePally. I'll have his link in the below if you guys haven't seen his channel. It's a really good channel. We had a great time. We saw a lot of new people. I think there was about 1,100 people that showed up to YCS Toronto. We played a lot of decks because the meta hasn't really been defined, or hasn't really been defined. We played a lot of Mermails, Evil Swarms, Token Sunday, which is a deck that I didn't lose to, but that was there. Chain Burn, Prophecies, and stuff like that. And as a Prophecy player, I was kind of intrigued that there was a Prophecy player that topped 16 in the YCS Toronto. His name is Fraizer Smith. Good last name, by the way, because that's my last name. But anyway, I watched a few of his matches. I learned a lot from different combos that he was doing that mimicked mine, which was really good. And he had some interesting tech choices that I'm going to go over. And there are a few critiques and things that I think he could have improved on, which I will most likely be improving on. They're very subtle, nothing too big. His build is obviously really good due to the fact that he topped 16, but I think there's a few things that he could have done. So for those of you who don't know what his deck list actually was, I'll read it off to you. Excuse me. He had 10 monsters. First off, he had 3 Spellbook, Magician of Prophecy, 3 Temperance, 2 High Priestess, 1 World, and 1 Justice. Onto the spells, he had 22. He had 3 Pot of Dualities, 3 Crescents, 3 Secrets, 2 Fate, 2 Wisdom, 1 Power, 2 Spellbook of the Master, 2 Grand Spellbook Towers, 2 Eternity, 1 Life, a Book of Moon. And for traps, he had 18. 3 Phoenix Change, 1 Phoenix Wing Blast, 1 Torrential, 1 Bottomless, 1 Compulse, 1 Solemn Warning. He sided in triple Veiler, triple Rivalry, 3 MST, 2 Kaiku, 2 Mind Crush, 1 Defissure, and 1 Soul Drain. Overall, the build is really consistent. Definitely putting the Pot of Dualities in the main is a really good play, just for the fact that if you open it up with Blue Boy, or if you don't have a Crescent, if you don't want to search for a Crescent, because I don't know if it was him per se, but someone tried activating on a spell book, or not a spell book, a spell card that wasn't a spell book after they activated Crescent, and I think he got the game loss. So that's kind of an awkward opening with opening up Pot of Duality and Crescent. You'd want to go with Crescent first turn because you want to save your dualities because you can just loop again if you really need to. But it definitely makes the Crescents and 3 pots definitely make the deck really consistent. The only things that I had kind of why to is some of his few choices. The first one I'll talk about is having 1 Justice of Prophecy. I think how the format is going right now, due to the fact that Fate is one of the best quick play spells in the game thus far, right above Book of Moon. With Justice, you gotta think that if you're using your Fate, you have to have a spellbook, or sorry, spellcaster on the field to use the effect. Granted, you don't have any other traps and stuff like that, but if you really are in a pinch and you really need that Fate, having a Justice effect go off kind of hurts you more than it helps you. Just for the fact that the Fate that you have in your hand is kind of somewhat dead now, just for the turn, due to the fact that you have no spellcasters on board. And you added 6, for example, a World maybe, if you were trying to discard it. But the thing that he probably did, which kind of I would think that hurt him, because I saw a few but I didn't see his top 16, was the fact that he most likely added a High Priestess. And that's good and all. Don't get me wrong, adding High Priestess with 3 books is amazing, but just with a Justice effect, you're kind of hurting your Temperance plays, just for the fact that you're making a lot more of your cards dead in your hand. For example, if you use High Priestess, a Prophecy to special summon her, right? You no longer can use a Temperance effect if you draw into her. You are obviously going to use somewhat of resources to protect your High Priestess due to the fact that it's your boss monster of the deck. So you're losing your 3-hand advantage with spellbooks if you were to draw into another High Priestess, so that's another dead draw. And people were probably going to say that like Grand Tower can kind of alleviate that, and it's it can, but it won't. Don't rely on it to give you back the hand advantage. Tower can only do so much because people obviously when they see that card they want to destroy it as soon as possible. And if you're just relying on draws from Tower, you're setting yourself up to lose the game. Another choice that I would replace Judgment or Justice with is one Effect Veiler. I know he had 3 in the side, but I think if you tech 1 in, it opens up a lot of plays for you. Due to the fact that if you have a Veiler and High Priestess, you can go into level 8 synchros very easily. You can go into Blade, you can go into a Stardust, a Thought Ruler, or any other good level 8 synchros out there that I simply can't remember. Because you can simply just lock out your opponent. Because you have, like he said, he had 8 back rows for traps. You can protect your big boss monsters even though they're not spellcasters still, and that's why it's nice to save the fates. Because what you could do then is use Spellbook of Life, which I'll talk about in a little bit. You could simply go into Effect Veiler with a High Priestess, go into level 8, then you could use a life to special summon the Priestess again. So not only do you have 2 big level, well now 8s on board, you can poke with Blader, you can pop stuff with High Priestess that you want to pop, and if they chain anything, you have the Priestess spellcaster on the field that you can use the Fate with, just to automatically just lock your opponent out and just win the game. And not having that in the main kind of just prevents you from doing plays like that. Like if you have the option to make lockdown plays that easily against your opponent, I really think that you should do just that. Another thing that he also had was having 1 Spellbook of Power and 1 Life. The power I agree with, just for the fact that Power is more of a searchable card when you need it. It's more of a situational card if you need to like beat something over. And Master can simply just double power anything if you target power. So you really don't need it in 2s anymore. But the thing that I don't think I'll ever stray away from is having 2 Spellbook of Lives in the main. Just for the fact that Spellbook of Life is a very powerful card, and you're going to be having it in the grave a lot, and you're going to be searching it obviously. But the thing that you want to remember is if you say you're maining 1 Spellbook of Life, if your plan is to either throw it to the bottom of your deck with Tower or banish it with Fate, you're wasting a lot of resources just to get the life back, where you could be redirecting it to something that you need, like a Secrets or a Master or a Fate or a Wisdom, or something like that. So for example, if you banish Fate, you use Eternity to grab life back when you banished it with Fate. That's a good play and all, but due to the fact that Eternity is becoming more of a pseudo Spellbook of Secrets, you really need to use Eternities when it counts, because you want to make sure that the cards that you're throwing in the bottom of the deck have enough fuel to be activated turn and turn again. Like you want to be able to have your Fates live every turn, if you can help it, and if it doesn't cost you a game, which it normally doesn't, because Fate is just ridiculously good this format. So that's why I would main just 2. I would main 2 life, as opposed to just 1, just for the fact that you can draw into a second life if you really need it. And also, if you have like an Eternity, you could get another Spellbook back to your hand. So instead of wasting your resources to get your life, you can use your resources on something better that could ultimately win you the game faster. Just for the fact that you can still special summon something from your grave, and also just activate a few other different things. And he has the 3 Fiendish Chains I would just drop the one chain for the replenishment of Valor. So just two Fiendish chains and one effect Valor. Just for the reason being, MST is being a really big power card, obviously due to Heavy Storm being banned. It's kind of nice to have also that one out if they're popping your back row like crazy and they're trying to activate an effect. Um, you can just Availer it because it's really hard to eliminate hand traps out of your hand, obviously, unless they deck dev you, which is kind of a pain. But in response, you can still have you still have your you still have your Phoenix chains, you still have everything that you need. But other than that, the build is really consistent. Those would just be the only things that probably bit him in the butt a little bit when he top 16. Just for the fact that you need a lot of your resources. Um, you need to get to the main resources like secrets, masters, fate, and stuff like that. Um, and just having to rely on searching cards um, that could that you wouldn't want to, but you're kind of forced into, like I mentioned with the life. It could just simply lose you the game. So let me know what you guys think. That's kind of what my deck list is going to be. Um, I was thinking about doing the world thing as well, because world is just absolutely stupid this format. In any form, in future formats, it's you get two back into your hand, and you can have a JD effect. Um, like 90% of the time, just for the ease of having multiple copies of different spellbooks in your hand. So yeah, that would be my build, which I'm gonna play test around with, and that's gonna probably be it. I'll probably have a deck list once I play test it more with TurkThePally. Um, so expect that to either see that on my channel or his channel. And if you guys have any comments or if you have any other recommendations for anything, just let me know and we'll talk about it. So I'm done. See you later, Space Cowboys.